Greetings, this is Dr. Ron Milon from TensorMind.com, and I welcome you here today on this collaboration where we talk about issues in social justice and leadership. And today's topic is going to focus on social justice, DEI, LGBTQ rights, and sexual and body expression. And today I have this great pleasure of having Dr. Dennis Cornell, aka Lee Daly, who is a social equity and sexual advocacy specialist. So I am so happy to have you here. Dennis, I'm going to call you Lee. We don't care if you don't mind, because I like
That's
that.
fine. Yes.
And I want to welcome you here today. And, the whole idea is to foster a dialogue regarding the intersection of social justice, DEI, LGBTQ rights, and the empowerment of sexual and body expression. Because I think a lot of people, we talk about, talk about expression, whether it's about social justice, is about having expression about our feelings and our emotions and our needs and our wants. And that intersection about that is not always clear. And I hope we can do that today. So welcome.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. It's
welcome,
great to
Lee.
be here.
Hey, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background and we'll continue from there.
Sure. I have a person that wears many hats in my life. I have been a social worker, a social justice advocate for over 23 years. And it started with working with the LGBTQ plus community and fairness and equality, that sort of thing. And then over the last several years, it molded into anti-racism work, and being a white guy who has looked into how to become more anti-racist in my own mindset, and then using research to uh, figure out interventions and practices to do that and help other people with that as well.
Okay, and so the thing that's always interesting, one of the blessings about social media is how people who are not right next door to each other can connect with basically on social on different issues that are or similar issues, I should say. And I saw the work that you did on online in social justice, and that really I gravitated to that. And I also saw that you do, you do porn as well. And the thing that I liked about that is how you really meshed the two together. So like you say, you wear many hats, but with what you do, people see many sides of you, and that's a very powerful thing. So you want to talk a little bit
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, they get to see every side of me,
Yeah.
including what's under the clothes.
There you go. And what I mean, and what got made you go in that direction, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do adult films and porn ever since I was in college. I remember purchasing a shirt when I was in college that said porn star across the front. And I think it was like a skating brand or something like that at that time. And this was, 25 years ago or so. And I was like, oh, I would love to do that. But at that time, I was very straight and I was very Catholic.
Okay.
And those things don't really mix well with doing porn. Um, and especially I was just now figuring out what my career was going to be, and I was like, I can't really have that out there with wanting to be a psychotherapist and all that kind of stuff. So I'd always had it in the back of my head, and fast forward till now, about 6 months ago is when I really started getting into it and having my OnlyFans and being a content creator with other folks and collabs and all that kind of stuff. And it really has uh, been very freeing for me to do that, because I'm now at an age where I don't really care what anybody thinks. I've gotten to that point where like I don't give an F about any of that kind of stuff. So uh, it's very authentic, I think, for me to be a part of that, because that's really who I am. I'm a very sexually liberated person, and I like to show that in my films.
I thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate that. And the thing is, I know what you're feeling because I just turned 60, so people say I don't care. You can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. I live my life. And I also have that Catholic background too, so I got you on that.
Yes.
But the one thing that you do that I think that is really empowering is that you talk. A lot of times when people think about porn stars, they just or people who do porn as well. They think them just as objects and just not someone that has really substance in terms of what they believe and what they know. And I think you changed that a lot because you talk about things that are very relevant and very, very powerful, very political. Um, the one piece I saw when you talked about Columbus Day.
Right.
And so my thing is, how do people respond to that? How do people respond to, when you make that pivot
Hmm.
in your work?
Well, so far I've only gotten uh, great responses from folks and comments and people. They'll DM me say, not only is he hot, but he's also smart. So I'll get some things like that, and then we get, of course, get uh, the conservative folks that can't open their minds to anything else, um,
Right,
and those are the ones that we really need to use things to change hearts and minds with. But a lot of people really you really just can't get in there very
right,
often unless it affects them personally.
right,
So I think getting back to your question, with folks who look at adult film people and porn stars, we just think they're, just a big butt or a big front, and that's all they are, and that pretty
right.
face. But all the folks that I've worked with, and 2 weeks ago, I just got back from a 25 person filmed orgy. So I met some folks that have been in the business for a little while and are doing really well with it, and they all are really nice and they're smart. I get to know people on an individual basis. They are a lot of them are intelligent. They have degrees, you know, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees. I know another guy who has his doctorate as well that's doing this. So it's not people are just doing it because they have to. They're doing it because they love it and are able to do other things with their lives as well. So I'm very excited to be able to have my educational background, bring that up on my platform to be able to have other people hear what's going on.
What made you decide to go for your advanced degrees?
Yeah, so in order to be a psychotherapist, I had to have my master's degree. So I had that for like 23 years, and then I wanted to go back and get my doctorate because I wanted to be a professor. That didn't work out that way because it I found out that the university setting is not really a place that works well with my authenticity. So
That's a
um,
discussion, and that's another
that's a
video
different
in
discussion.
itself, right?
Yes. So I have done adjunct work before, teaching some courses and things, but not full time because it didn't work well with my mindset. So I had that. Degree to help with to get me into those situations. But the offshoot of that degree was doing my research on anti-racism and finding out what evidence-based practices there are out there already that work well with having white folks learn new ways to think in a more anti-racist way. And I had that research published. It's in a peer-reviewed journal. And I was very excited about that. I took that research and started a small business with a Black female colleague where we would go around and do 2 day workshops and half-day workshops for groups of people in businesses or companies to help with developing that more anti-racist mindset individually and in the workforce.
That's very interesting because a lot of times right now people are not talking about that. They need to talk about that,
Right.
especially now. And to have an ally is also refreshing as well to talk about it, understand. Um, and and the thing is, please continue that work because it's so important.
Right.
And I mean, and we were talking about, the intersection of, body expression and the work that you do. In the future, what do you think more you can do with the work that you're doing that you can make an awareness to people in our community? I would say the LGBTQ community, because I always argue that a lot of young LGBTQ people don't know this stuff, do not know history, do not know
Hmm.
um, the connection of the LGBTQ and civil rights in this country, do not know how before to interact for gay men to interact with each other, it was against the law. I mean,
Hmm.
right now we're talking if they might remove gay marriage if the Supreme Court has its way.
Right.
So, what do you feel that you need to do in your work to help get the message out, the
I,
awareness out to the community?
yeah, I think it's just all about education and trying to be a good mentor to younger folks. Some of the videos I like to put out are maybe 1 minute, a minute and a half about a certain historical topic that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
Like the Columbus Day thing I did. I actually did a dressed like Columbus and did a quote of something that he said that was really damaging. The quote was very damaging toward indigenous people, and we celebrate him in this country as our founder of this land. But we don't. What a lot of people don't know is there were 60 million people that were already on this land from from all the Americas before he even showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he wasn't the first person here. There were 60 million people living there when he arrived.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. And I think it's coming up with that information, those little tidbits, since history is being repealed
Yeah.
and hidden. Um, then I think doing little tidbits like that to get the awareness out, and then hopefully having people invite us in to talk more about that.
Right. Now, and that's awesome. And that's what I do in my work. And one of the things that I was a chief diversity officer for many years in academia and in the theater industry. And, a lot of people are kind of changing their titles because they're concerned about DEI. And I said, I'm going to say it. Screw that. I
Yeah.
would say the other word, but we got kids watching too, so maybe. But the
Right.
thing is, the thing to keep in mind is that my work, I'm dedicated to my work, and it's important that we continue to do that, and continue to fight through the walls that are being built to prevent us from doing that. Um, and not be ashamed of it. And the thing is, I think a lot of people are also ashamed. We make things a shame when we, about sex, is sexual
Hmm.
independence, sexual justice. And I think when you go to Europe and go to other countries, they don't have that. It's like that's an
Right.
American thing. And that whole shame is placed because of religion. But what we end up seeing is
Hmm.
those same people that are condemning it are doing it
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes. And the
Yes.
thing with the beauty of what you do is you say, don't be behind the scenes. Don't be
Mm-mm.
ashamed of who you are. And that body expression is justice, is liberating.
It
And
is.
and the thing is talking about it in a way of these concepts help us to understand it on a larger universal scale.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The United States is full of the puritanical values
Absolutely.
of not talking about sex, that it's dirty and it's nasty. And the reality is, from a psychological standpoint, we're all sexual beings as humans. That's just what we are. The
Right.
hormones make us feel that way. Our body parts have us feel that way, and
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you are doing stuff consensually, with people of age, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need more training. People need to understand that, and people need to know from being a teenager on up that this is okay. We're human. We're
It
we're
is.
animals, and animals have needs.
Right, right.
Exactly.
And it relieves tension,
Yes.
especially in this terrible environment we have now.
Now that's where I want to go with regarding the environment now, because we both live in this context of what's going on in Washington, and we talk about what's going on in terms of our democracy or lack of it now, and the future of our community. What is the status of the future of our community? What's going to happen? I mean, I'm concerned about gay marriage, concerned about having medicines to help like PrEP and other medicines. I don't want
Right.
to see that be taken away from people
Hmm.
from the community, because that has saved so many lives. What about continued research that we need in HIV? I'm worried about that.
Hmm.
um, I just worry about these things because these are things we fought for years, and
Right.
now every day you see this is going to be removed, this is going to be cut. I mean, just basic food stamps, food
Hmm.
stat program, people are not being able to eat. It scares me
Right.
because a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of LGBTQ folks are poor and depend
Hmm.
on those.
Hmm. Exactly. So it feels like we're going backwards
Yes,
than all that progress that we made over the last several decades. Um, and I think it's going to come to a point where uh, folks are going to be fed up with it because it's starting to touch them personally.
sure, sure,
And I don't think anything's going to really change until it really starts getting into the lives of people individually.
sure.
And once that happens, I think we'll start to see a lot more turning back.
I really enjoy this conversation. I know it's a 30-minute conversation and we're going to come back, but just to let people know, if they want to reach out to us, our contact information will be located in the links below. And the whole thing is, as a community, we need to grow and work together. And one of the things I always talk about in leadership is if you are a leader managing, whether it's a community, a town, organization, you have to also understand people and
Hmm.
understand that you can't close the door on one group because you don't want to be bothered with them. And so our jobs is to make sure you realize that we're here and that we are part of the community. We are part of this, and we are not going to be shut down. It may look bad right now, but that's why we're here. We are continuing the fight. And I am just so glad, my brother, that we connected and that we're going to do this together, and continue to advocate for the LGBT community, for any marginalized group, because they need our voices.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Now's the time to stand up and have our voices be heard.
So now let me ask you for everyone out there, because people are watching this for different reasons. What, in terms of, your porn and what you do in your work and everything, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Oh, let's see. 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to be known as the dad of porn, of gay porn, because that's my persona is I'm your dirty porno dad.
There we
Um,
go.
I'm a mattress actor with a doctoral degree, is what I say.
There we go.
So yes, I would like to win some gay porn awards. There's two types you can get, and there's one in May and there's one in January, and I'd like to already have my outfit picked out if whoever wants to nominate me,
There we
so I can
go.
show up. That's what I would like to do. I don't think there's enough uh, dads in porn, and I'd like to be that big, muscly dad that works with all the other folks, all the other boys.
Well, listen, I'm sure that will happen. You're a wonderful human being. You're awesome in your work. Again, I am very fortunate we connected this way. And I'm sure we'll do more work together as we advocate for social justice and in body expression. So, Dr. Cornell, Dr. Lee Daly, and Dr. Porn Daddy, you're gonna. But I want to say thank you for joining us today in this conversation. And, as part of Tensile Mind, if anyone is interested in some of the solutions that we have to try to create an inclusive and inviting and loving society, please feel free to reach out to me. And Lee Daly's information will be included as well. So thank you so very much.
All right, thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I think did we stop